Please help me honor and welcome Dr. Diane Janowicz.
So I never tried out for a single sports team the entire time. So I'm going to stick more with the academic side. So my participation in the response to this HIV outbreak at this point is certainly one of the more memorable parts of my entire career thus far. And I was a small town girl who got really starry-eyed when I was speaking with the massive number of people who were helping coordinate that response, including certainly the state health commissioner, but also people from the CDC and other federal organizations. And there were downtimes when we got to talk about fun things, and invariably someone would ask me, "Oh, hey, where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm from Marion, Indiana. It's a little small town north of Indy." And then I went to school at Loyola in Chicago. But I grew up in Marion, Indiana, and I think that's the key there, because I really did grow up in Marion, Indiana. My parents moved here right before I started 5th grade, and I was going to be a veterinarian. And in 7th grade, my English teacher, Mrs. Ringenberg, said to me when I said, "Oh, I'm going to be a veterinarian," she looked at me and she said, "Oh, I always thought you'd be a doctor." And so I went home, and I told my mom, I said, "Mom, Mrs. Ringenberg thinks I'm going to be a doctor. What's up with that? That can't be right." And I thought about it, and 2 days later I told her, "Mrs. Ringenberg, you're right. I am going to be a doctor," and I've never changed my mind since then. Flash forward to 1992, and I'm sitting in the Suburban with my mom and dad in the front seat, and we're stuck in a massive traffic jam on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. And I'm counting the hundreds of cars in front of us and looking at the skyscrapers next to me that I can't even see the top of. And I have a little bit of a panic attack because I think, oh my gosh, what did I just do? I'm coming from a town of 35,000 people, and I don't even know how many millions of people live in the city. How am I going to do this? Well, there was no reason for that panic attack because my years at Marion High School really, really prepared me well. I had no problem in Chicago and certainly no problem at Loyola. And I went there with the intent to be a doctor. Thank you, Mrs. Ringenberg. So what helped prepare me for college and certainly my career as a doctor? And one of the things that my mom instilled in me, and my dad instilled in me too, is to value my education and always respect my teachers. And so as I was thinking about tonight, I had fun reminiscing and looking through some old yearbooks, and I had a list of probably at least 30 names of teachers I came up with off the top of my head, and I can't go through them all today, so I'm just going to highlight a few. And as I was looking through those yearbooks, I noticed the themes each year. There was one, and this is a theme not from my senior yearbook, but I think it was our sophomore year. It said, "Standing on the shoulders of giants." And those teachers who really impacted me were the giants whose shoulders I got to stand on to be successful throughout college, medical school, and my medical professional career today. And so the first teacher who made a huge impact on me was Mr. Shank for Project Upper Unlimited Potential Biology. And there's a lot of heads nodding in this crowd. Right before I started high school, I was that nerd who went home to my mom and I said, "Hey Mom, look, I got straight A's again. I'm going to get into any college I want." You got to appreciate a mom who tells you the truth and keeps you humble, because what she told me in response was, "No, you're not. You don't really do anything but academics, so you need some other careers or other options." And so I took that advice to heart. My poor mom put at least 200 miles a week on her car driving me all over, and that included to school before and after for Mr. Shank's Project Up Biology, because everybody who took his class dedicated hours of extra time before, after school, and often during lunch period. And that class and Mr. Shank himself helped instill in me a lot of information and helped me learn about basically the theory of hypothesis-driven research, data collection, analysis, and then revamping your entire experiment. And that led to 10 successful years of research for me. I also took 5 years of French. Today, in this world, that doesn't help me much, but what it did help me with was when I got to go to France a couple times, I was able to get around where I needed to and order the food that I really wanted, although I didn't have the Marion accent, I had the American accent for French, so it earned a few giggles from people when I was ordering things. And finally skip ahead to junior and senior year for sure. And like I said, my parents instilled within me a huge respect for teachers. And so the two teachers who really impacted me those years, and I cannot call them by their first name, even though one of them is here, was Mr. Lakes and Mrs. Ross. So here I am a physician, and I'm naming a lot of English teachers. And so Mr. Lakes and Mrs. Ross really instilled within me and perpetuated my love of reading and literature, and taught me how to write well. And I remember, so I became an English major because of them. And when I was writing my first grant and my first paper with my research mentor at IU, he turned to me and he said, "Wow, you can really write well. I'm impressed." And I paused and I said, "Dr. Small, this is our 10th draft." He goes, no, it's only about the second or third. So I liked the bias that he had, and I went with it, and didn't contradict him further after that. And today I have a career that I love. I get to be a physician and treat patients, but I also get to do a lot of teaching. And so I'm certainly inspired by all the honorees today who have spoken before me. But one of the things that I said yesterday to John Ernest when I was hearing some of the students speak at the luncheon, they gave us 2-liners about themselves. And just 2 lines just blew me away at how successful and how good they are already. And so I said to John Ernest, it's fantastic to be inspired by those who go before you, but how awesome is it to be inspired by those who come after you? So I am excited to see where they're going to be in, I don't want to say it, well, I'm going to have to say it in 25 years, after they've been standing on the shoulders of the giants who are at Marion today. So thank you for this honor. I'm very humbled and grateful for it.